Look at this mess and all the cutting I had to do. Essentially, the top panel that were cut out from those containers have been put to reuse. Some of it I made into these, looks like caps, right? But they're gonna go on the bottom of the flood and drain bell siphon. So I have to attach a pipe on top of this, but let me show you where this goes. So as I stated previously, these bins are going to be modified to have a flood and drain siphon rather than something like that, because we know that that's not going to work. So these right here will go on the top, and it's going to basically prevent the water from getting in until it gets to a certain level. I just have to attach a pipe right here that goes on top up to about here, and then put a cap on that one. Obviously this one's also going to need a pipe that goes up here, a smaller interior or internal pipe. I'm probably going to go with 2-inch, and that should work. So I got these chambers welded together. I drew some holes in the bottom to make sure that water goes through those perforations. Now these big containers, I'm still not sure if I want to modify them or just keep it like this so that it would just be a flood. It would just gradually flow out. I think the flood and the drain siphon would probably work better, but I'm not sure if I want to take the time to do that, because it will still do its job regardless. These two smaller ones are gonna see all being welded together, so this keeps all the gravel and pebbles out, and then the bell siphon will work in here. And here's a third one. So that's what we got. And then now I'm gonna put more gravel from the front. I need to put it at the bottom and get these things situated. Now in this pile are a bunch of pieces of plastic pallets that I had cut down. I had a whole pile of pallets right here. Had them all cut down since I wasn't going to use them for anything else, so they became filter media. The pile of white bins, as you know, have already been transferred over. And just this whole time I've just been working on filling up these containers. So these are going to be bell siphon right here. I kind of redid it, added these compartments. This one will be a flood and just slow drain. Inside these bins are a combination of just whatever was left over, whatever was available, and whatever I had that could be used as basically biomedia. So pebbles from my front yard that we're redoing, cut down pallets, plastic pallets. As you can see, the pine bristles there, that's a Christmas tree. I had a bunch of Christmas trees that I collected because I figured they wouldn't have a lot of surface area. So there, and these things have a lot of big openings and spacing, so I'm able to kind of just throw the pebbles in there and gravel, and it kind of fills up the bin. Otherwise it would take too many trips to the material place to purchase them. In addition to the pallets and the plastics and the plastic Christmas trees and the pebbles, as you can see, I got whole pieces of PVC pipe. I got these crates, like low quality thin crates. I just shred them up and put them all in there. More Christmas trees. Here's other bins that I haven't filled up yet, but yeah, so I think these Christmas trees here with all these plastics right here, I think they make great filter media. I think since they'll be away from the sun, the UV is not going to break them down, which is what you want. And they are able to fill up a lot of these bins. And then I'll put the pebbles on, and then I'll probably put like a finer gravel on top later on to plant stuff. But check that out. Yep. So yep, here's more Christmas trees and plastic pallets right here. The pallets themselves, actually, they're they're like a 3D structure, so they have a lot of surface area. And in between these hollow areas right here, once I start throwing the pebbles and the gravels on, they'll slowly fill in, and it just increases total surface area, which is what I really want. So once again, I am overdoing the biofiltration because, as you saw in my small pond, it really helps because I can grow out 300 fish in there, and the typical pond that size you just simply cannot. So this one, I'm doing it for just a lot of filtration and also to grow things aquaponically so that I don't have to water them. And of course, I can stock up this whole thing with a lot more fish using this setup. Here is how I am connecting the water outlet to feed these containers. These are rubber connectors. That one's a coupler, 4-inch. These two right here are 3 inches on one end and 4-inch on the side that hooks onto the filter. So these pipes are basically just elbow, and they're all gonna have, well, the large one in the back is a 4-inch carrier. That's gonna feed a number of the big tanks all the way down there. So on the tanks that I wanted to feed water, I teed it off with a reducer, so that's a 2-inch. Now notice how this one's angled up a little bit because I don't want the water to just maximize the falling out when it's here. I wanted to kind of give it a chance to travel down the pipe, so that it reaches down there at a decent amount too. So I angled this thing up a little bit. That way, when the water gets up here, then it will fall out some more. If I put it down here, then it will basically drop out super fast, and I was afraid that it might not have enough when it goes down to the last few bins. And then the smaller 3-inch pipes got reduced to 2-inch as it come over here. There is really no particular, oh well, there is a reason why it's reduced, because I ran out of 3-inch pipes. Really simple. So I am using 2-inch right here. That one's feeding this container. The longer one is feeding this other one. Here's the other T right here for the big bin. Now you notice this one, it's not angled up as much. It's almost like perpendicular to this pipe. As I move down the length of the pipe, I kind of angle it down slightly. That way, you know, as it gets further down, more water can come out easier. So onto the last big container here. Now if you notice the way I'm doing things, I'm just using crappy stuff that I have around. So a bell-in, I had this T that looks like a cross just randomly lying around, and it kind of just was at the length that I needed, so it went in there. Now I gotta drill a couple of holes here and here, and then I'm gonna stick a maybe a 4-inch in, and then feed this container, and then at the other end I'll let it come down here as the last container here, and that's it. Oh yeah, there's one more container up there that I need to make another outlet, so I'm doing that this afternoon. The last outlet that I might be using would be going to this container right here, the short container. I've been connecting the pipes. Rather than gluing them together, I'm just like pushing them in, using reducers, adapters, elbows, couplers, whatever, and basically it's like dry fitting them. Since this is not a pressure application, I like the ability to remove them in the future if I wanted to. And to make this a lot easier, what I found out was these sanitary lubricants used in a lot of the machines that's intended for food application. So it's a food grade lubricant, and you just take it and squeeze them and rub it around on the inside and on the outside of the joint areas, and it's gonna go in pretty easily. So let me show you. It's kind of a messy job, but see how it just goes in. So we want this one to go close to this area right here. So alright, so let me see if I can just push it in. Yeah, see that? slips in, comes in nice, easy, and in the future, if you want to remove them, it's a lot faster. And here are the rest of the plumbing. It looks something like this. There's 2 holes in this bin to support that pipe. Once again, we got a T, that's a 2-inch. Goes out this way, gets reduced to 2, and gets bent down. So that's it. So that's the very last pipe. Hopefully water makes its way out here at a decent flow rate. I mean, it's a 4-inch pipe, so 4-inch pipe essentially is having 4 2-inch, and it actually has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 outlets, which is slightly one more than I wanted, but couldn't really find any other solution to run a long pipe because I kind of ran out of outlets on that end. Should be okay. Now we gotta organize this mess here. We got all these controllers. There's 8 controllers, and they need to go somewhere along that wall right there, or on the other side of this planter. But they definitely cannot be here. Okay, see that blue bin right there? That got chopped off the top. Well, luckily, the top piece has a threaded attachment. Look at this, a lid attachment, and I guess these are all pretty standard units, so this one actually fits right in. Look at that, huh? Pretty cool, huh? So there you go. So I'm gonna have to cut this out, put it in there, bolt it on that thing, and then this gives me access to the inside of the bottom drain when I need to, I don't know, if something gets caught, and I can just take it out and maybe remove the gravels or rocks or pebbles that falls down, because I predict in the future it probably will. There we go. Alright, so I unbolted this piece, this ring here, and I guess all these are pretty standard because the holes seem to just line up perfectly. Look at that. Saves me the work of having to drill. Alright, so I'm gonna have to bolt that in, and then I have to chop this off. Probably chop it off somewhere right here. Alright, so let's drill the hole in. Little pilot hole. Butter. And then, alright, here we go. So, oh, I see. So I have an issue. My thing needs more space in this. Maybe I can turn it around. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. So guess I have to go this way and cut it. Look at that. We got ourselves a big old bottom drain dome right here. Alright, so let's go and dry fit it and see how it works. Here we go. Let's carry this down. Oh, it's very steep here. Holy cow. So on the bottom of this is an original bottom drain with the little, yep, there's a pipe in there. It's very small, but for a swimming pool it didn't matter. However, for our application, obviously we need to make sure that we have more space, more sweep. Here we go. See, so that's basically what I wanted to do right there, and this looks good. Yeah, so it's gonna be right there. Then we have to so this thing already has like a gap right here, so the coils aren't gonna get in, and it's sweeping everything around it. So look at the sweep radius on this is actually gonna be pretty decent. Since this thing is a good, I want to say it's about 32 or 33 inch, but it's nice. It's covered all around. Yeah, so I gotta chop off the bottom so that water can get in. But yeah, it looks good. Look at that. So it's gonna cover this bottom drain, and then in the future, should anything happen, look at that. This thing opens up and we have access right here. So if we need to scoop out some gravels or whatever, I'll take some scuba diving gears and go down here and just scoop it out. There we go. That's not a bad idea. It's not bad at all. Oh yeah, let's check out the gap and see. Yeah, so there's not a lot of gap. It's a pretty tight fit, so I'm gonna have to do some trimming to create a gap. That way it actually has space for water and debris to get in. See that? I couldn't see that, but luckily the cell phone can go under here. Yeah, it's really a tight fit, so I'm gonna have to trim that out. But that was a lot easier than I expected. Okay. Alright, so we're gonna take this back up and trim it out. So to create opening along this like flange area here, where it touches the bottom of the floor, we want to cut some of this out like this. So I'm going to highlight it. We want to cut it in like this crescent shape right here. That way on the sides we'll be able to stay on top of the concrete and allow this gap to let water through. So we're going to do this all around. And this doesn't have to be precise, to be honest. As you can see, the outer rim covers it, so you can't even see it. So let's just do it like this. Then we'll trim it out. There we go. That's it. Okay, so it's been trimmed out, and so it's got parts where the cuts have been made. You look at it. It looks kind of like wavy, and that will allow the water to get in. So let's go ahead and put this back in again. Still fits nicely. Obviously, we didn't change anything besides the cutout, so well, we're gonna go back in and see. Okay, there we go. See, we got openings right there. There's a gap. Let's see if we can show the other ones. Yep, there we go. So those areas are gonna be able to sweep the water surrounding, and all the poop will get sucked in here for the most part. Let's see what it looks like on this side. Yeah, there's a gap here too, so we're okay. I think I'll put it in this direction like that. Here's a look at the Frankenstein plumbing work that went here. The wall of this pool has been scrubbed and rinsed twice, so it's pretty nice and clean. The epoxy is still rather new, so I don't think I'm going to be repainting it. It's just too much work. So I went straight and placed in that retrofit bottom drain. It's got 4 ports right here. I'm using a combination of rigid pipe and flex pipe. Unfortunately, the way this was shaped and the pre-molded form here, I couldn't add the adapters on the side, so now I end up with like the bends on these pipes that just doesn't look all that nice. But for the purpose of carrying up water to that spot right there, this should be okay. And I'll be using 4 inlets. Actually, I was gonna use 3 and seal one, but I'm gonna use 4 because one of them will be going on from that side. And the reason why I want to use 4 is because I want to create as much suction in this area to sweep the bottom as possible. Having 4 pipes will really allow the water to just get up there, and when it comes down that way, make its way down here, it will be able to sweep this whole area nice and clean. Now, my only concern is when I put more pipes, this area starts going up here and it starts bending upwards a little bit. But I don't think it's big enough where it causes issue for fish to get in, because I'm not going to be putting small fish in this area. So, well, not in this pond, so I don't think it should be a problem. But it is an area of concern that I'm bringing notice to. So if I need to address it, I'll address it. But for now, I think it should be okay. And man, the technical work on these pipes are really messy, but it's a retrofit and it's easily removable if we need to make use of the pool again, or if we sell the house. I don't think that's gonna be the case, but um, it's better to kind of do it ahead of time and be prepared in case we have to remove it somehow. Yeah, so once I get this up, I'm almost ready to fill in the water. So here's what I ended up doing with this filtration cleaning spray bar. That is the original booster pump. This piece here, I added 1.5 inch valve. These pipes are actually European standard 20 millimeter, I think. They're slightly smaller than a 1/2 inch, so I use a bunch of glue here, very liberal. Hopefully it fills it in. But even if there's a little minor leak, it shouldn't be an issue. I actually thought this was 1/2 inch. So I cut it up and then I realized it didn't fit, but oh well. So this valve can cut off the water going into the spray bar. But if you follow the spray bar here, on this side, I added a union here, and this is the city water line. So I'll have two forms of power in case I need to replace one of the mechanisms here, or a solenoid valve down the other way. So normally when this operates, water comes in here, sprays here, and then it gets cut off by that valve. If my solenoid valve that delivers water from the city is malfunctioning, I can switch that valve to the other position and open it up and use a booster pump, and then it will spray water in without issues. That way it's extra redundancy. But this is essentially how I'm setting it up. And then I have to create a little notch right here so that it fits. I want that to close nicely. Yeah, right here. Okay, and here is a solenoid valve that I was talking about. So this one is a standard 120 volt, 1 inch. The water coming in is 1 inch. I connected the two unions here and here. That way, if I need to replace the valve, because they do break over time. So if you need to replace it, you want to make sure that these things are in place. So this is the main feeding line right here. I got a secondary valve here in case I need to flush the system, meaning like there's a chance every now and then that stuff gets in there and you want to back flush it. You can open this one up and run the booster pump on the other side and then just flush it down here. Let's see. Yeah, that's it. So that's it for this one. This part is basically done, and now I just have to hook up the controller and run the clean out pipe somewhere through here. That big old 3-4 inch pipe going down this way. This is what the retrofit bottom drain and the piping looks like right now. So I got a bunch of flexible pipes going into the dome right there. That dome is made from the top of that blue bin, of course. That was shown earlier. I originally did not want to glue the pipe into those holes right there. I wanted to just like push them in, but the weight and the way the pipes were bending in their natural form, they wanted to just come out. So I ended up having to glue it down, and silicone just didn't do it because it wasn't drying fast enough. So those all got heavy PVC glue adhesion. But that should work, and that dome I think is probably sized for the bottom of this area. And then over there we got some pipes going down to pull water from underneath, and then that vertical pipe right there is, let's take a closer look. So this vertical pipe is actually a U shape, and it has diagonal cutouts from both sides. Well, no, just one side. It goes all the way down. The reason why I did a U shape like this is because this one will act almost like a skimmer, and you know, the water level in the pond isn't always going to be perfectly at one spot, so it's going to slowly go down or up or down or up. But it doesn't really matter, because no matter where the water level is, even all the way down to there, there's always something here on the surface that will catch and skim the surface. That way it will keep it a little cleaner. In addition, of course, I have the natural pool skimmer all in this notch right here as well, so I'm going to have two skimming action, which is going to be helpful. That pipe is not being used. I'm saving that one for future usage. And here are the bell siphon. Essentially the design looks like this. So we got the vertical pipe right there. It's been threaded into the fitting, which is a 4x2 reducer. Just happens to work out perfectly. And the height of it is as high up as almost as this part, so the water level should go up pretty high. And here, this Frankenstein amalgamation of random pieces here. We got the bottom piece, which is high density polyethylene. I basically melt the thing and I just shove this piece into here to get it to stick. And then on the top, you know, whatever. These were basically part of the piping design somewhere here that didn't work out, so I chopped them up and reuse it for this. But it should be airtight. And on the bottom, some legs were welded on to give us a little bit of gap and spacing for air to get in. Sometimes you just gotta do things that work. It doesn't have to be all that pretty. I'm still continuing to add in more gravel and pebble, and I'm still have to buy some more because I want to fill the top layer with finer gravel so that's easier to sift around and plant stuff. I still got 1, 2, 3 outlets that hasn't been put to use. I'm gonna channel one water up to the front right there. The other 2, I might just let it go down here so that it makes use of the gravel down here. I mean the pebble down here as filtration media as well. So we are basically done. This was the last piece that was added on, the waste pipe right here. So it is connected through this. We got a little wooden block to support the weight. It goes all the way down. Comes into here. Then we got a very large hop filter, about 13, almost 14 inch in diameter. This will catch the solid waste to be used as a fertilizer around the yard, and then the rest of it will drain into that pipe there. The water will drain into that pipe, and it will be watering stuff around here. I could have put it straight down to the waste, like the toilet waste pipe, but I figured that's a waste of water, so we're just gonna reuse it. Yeah, but this big old long pipe right here, everything's in place. We got the controller mounted on. All the pumps are mounted on the side. We're gonna be plugging it in here, and there's a stainless box for weatherproofing. I think this controller, hopefully it doesn't let water get in. It's the way it's mounted on the side, on the face of this, is kind of weird. I would have been best if it was mounted down here, but we're just gonna work with what we have. I might have to put something around it so when it starts getting rainy, it's not gonna trip the GFI breakers. Let's see what else we're gonna do. I think that's it. Here's the bottom. Not gonna be painting it again. It looks okay. On this side, we got 3 outlets that are not connected yet. Depending on how much water we get, I might connect this one and just let it drain down onto the floor right here. This one, likewise, probably just let it drain down here because these pebbles also need water too. And then, yeah, I still gotta fill up these bins. I got more stuff to do. So these are only partially filled. I don't want to fill a little bit more.